Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously.
Starting.
We're
Hey
on.
guys,
We're in trouble early.
Howdy doody.
howdy, how are we?
Excellent. How you doing?
Yeah, really,
Oh, the best the podcast has ever been.
that must have been his dog that just come running up and pulled the cord out or something. Oh, Chris. Oh, it had to be Chris.
Where would we be without him? Oh, right here
Oh.
for the podcast. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh dear. And he was just having a good old sing too. God love
He
him.
laughed too hard. His gut got in the way. There's too much vibration going on. I can say that because he's not on here yet.
Oh well.
Come on.
How are you
mate.
guys anyway, while we're waiting for Chris?
Excellent.
Oh, he's back.
Excellent.
Very good.
He's here.
He's
What
coming
happened
back.
to you, man?
What on earth? Oh dear. Chris. Anyway.
Well, machine, we're back. We have.
I'm here.
What happened?
Oh, you know when you click the button and move something or change something and your fat finger hits the wrong button?
Oh, I said, mate.
Maybe you don't have those problems.
Take your
But
stomach off. Take your stomach off the keyboard, mate.
nothing wrong with me. I'm fine.
Careful, mate. You're telling everyone your age, mate.
Take your stomach off the keyboard.
No, it's hard being 38.
Anyways.
All right, let's start. So, what's the subject? Luke?
The subject.
What's a
So-
wine?
Start with wine.
Let's drink.
Let's drink. All right. Let's start with wine then. I'll go first.
Yep.
Okay, so this is called Cat Amongst the Pigeons, Fat Cat, Barossa Shiraz, 2020. I've no idea. Is it? You've had it?
Good drop.
Yeah. It's one of those bottles I fell in love with the name actually. Cat Amongst the Pigeons. That tends to be what happens here every week. So we'll see. But yeah, it came recommended, so let's just see. Looking forward to it. What about
Alright.
you guys? What do you got? Chris?
What do you got?
So I've got a Stockman's Ridge. It comes from a place called Lidster, which is just west of Orange. It's a Shiraz, 2015 Shiraz. I haven't had it before, and I haven't had a wine out from the Orange region in a long time, so I thought I'd grab it. It's got a little bit of age. I'm hoping it might be good.
I think they'll have a letter in the mail from Cockfighter's Ghost, mate, for stealing their label. It looks very much like Cockfighter's.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a horse with a guy with a lasso on it. That's Cockfighter's Ghost.
Yeah, well, okay.
What do
There
you
you go.
got,
I've got
Ian?
a vermouth.
Oh.
I've got a vermouth bottle from Antica, Italy. So this is vermouth. Vermouth is wine that has been mixed with a bit of brandy and a lot of spices. So it gets its beautiful kind of taste. If you guys have ever had Martini red, it's very close. It's very similar.
Was it sweet?
So I a little bit sweet. I thought in honor of our next speaker, I thought I'd get something between wine and mixed with a bit of brandy.
Do it. This
Fair
one,
enough.
we are doing whiskey and
Oh God.
He's doing whiskey and wisdom.
wisdom this week.
That's the next podcast, Cam.
No. So I'm in trouble with the doctor. I'm in big trouble with the doctor. So I've had to do a short stint of cutting sugar completely out of my world. So I'm 4 days in of the carnivore diet where all I eat is dead animals and eggs. And it's going brilliantly. I've dropped 3 kilos. I've run out of belt holes already.
Wow.
Good. Haven't had a drink. And whiskey has 0.1 grams of sugar per 100 mils. So
Very
nothing.
low.
So we're going with whiskey, and you're all going to suffer because of it. But Jameson's is one of the oldest Irish whiskies in the world. It says 1780 on the bottle. John Jameson is a Scottish bloke. He started managing it in 1786 because his wife's family owned it, and then he bought it in 1805 and has been making them ever since. It is aged in bourbon barrels and then sherry barrels, which makes it sweet. And then they chuck it back in the bourbon barrels to give it a little bit of smoke. I'm a huge Jack Daniels drinker, but I don't like straight scotches or whiskies. I hate them. But I remember 6 months ago, we were at a friend's house for a barbecue, and after a few too many beers, he gave me one of those. It was the first thing I've been able to drink straight that made me cringe. So I rang him yesterday and said, "What was that thing we drank?" And he said, "Oh, the only thing I drink is triple distilled Jameson." So it was probably that. And it is, and it's bloody beautiful. So whiskey and wisdom, here we come.
Oh.
But did you say you're on the carnivore's diet?
Carnivore diet. So that wasn't the doctor's
Because
recommendation. A mate of mine said, "I want to try the carnivore diet because we listen to too many stupid podcasts," and he's been trying to drag me along for a long time to do something about my health because he knew me when I was actually an athlete.
I thought you said the carnival diet where you had to eat at the circus or something.
No, so literally it's basically a cleanse, but I've done cleanses before with powders and stuff, but all you eat is protein. So having
it's basically the Atkins diet. It's the Atkins diet, basically. No carbs or anything like that. Yeah.
Zero carbs, and I'm only doing it for a couple of weeks just to get. I had a few blood tests last week that weren't good, just for sugar levels and insulin resistance and all that stuff that us drinkers tend to struggle with.
I've done it before. You'll find in probably 3 or 4 days you'll get really bad breath from the ketosis that happens in your body. Your breath starts to stink. But
mate, I've got chicks all over me, mate. So it's all right.
So you can get some cream for that as well, mate. So.
No, so it's good. It's been interesting. Obviously weight loss, but the couple of kilos, I don't like it. But the clothes fitting better is a good thing. My skin, I've got horrible skin, horrible eczema. That's already started to disappear.
There you go.
I'm much funnier than I usually am, as you saw before the podcast.
The reality's taken a blur.
And I can make it through the day without needing to sleep at 2 o'clock. So it's good. So far, so good. So
very good.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's bloody nice.
All right, so what's in the news this week? Obviously, interest rates, guys.
Again, yep.
Let's move on.
Yeah, serious sick of those. So
floods.
Going to happen. Lots of floods. Australia's in the tennis, the quarterfinals.
Yeah, curiosity.
No, semi-final.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Semi-final and an assault charge for hitting a chick. Well done, son. That's it.
Oh, no, he didn't hit her. He just grabbed her.
That's the Aussie spirit. Now, obviously, a lot of people struggling with the floods again, so we don't take that lightly.
Yeah, that's sad.
We've had, a lot of people in our area very heavily affected by it. And, we're there if anybody needs it or anybody needs a warm shower. I think the waters are on their way down. It stopped raining today, so that is good.
And be a good neighbor. Be a good neighbor.
Absolutely.
I remember last time the floods were out, we had some listings that were around the flood zones and people thought it would be a good idea to jump on Facebook and go, "Oh, I hope you bring your boat." No, how bad is that? I hope all those, I'm not allowed to say that word anymore. You've killed too many words from the podcast.
Morons.
I hope all those people with appendages on their forehead waking up this time around because it's not good. It's really not good.
It's not. You think about like down in Richmond and Windsor and the Hawkesbury and stuff, like the amount of people that would have just lost another lot of crops and all of that. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, I can't remember who it was, but 4 times they've got a turf farm down there, and 4 times in the last year it's been wiped out or something. So it's driving people to the brink, just the set back up and then it happened again, and and it's going to keep our veggies prices and all of that higher for a longer, so yeah.
Hunter got slammed. Wine's in trouble again. Those Alexanders you bought are going to be worth an absolute fortune soon. Stop drinking them.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I wanted to talk a little bit about interest rates because I believe that the Reserve Bank of Australia, the Governor Lowe, sometime twice last year and I think the year before, he's been saying that if interest rate was to move, it was only going to happen in 2024.
Yeah. Yep.
And so here's the question, guys, just for 2 minutes. What happens when the guy that runs the Reserve Bank, he's on a $900,000 salary? He actually said at the beginning of this year, he's got no, no mortgage. And he's telling you things like this. And you jump in the market and you try to make sure that you get yourself a bargain because you want to make some money. And suddenly we have 1.35% increase in just 2 months.
Yeah.
It's not good, but they'll have all the ass covering measures. I'm sure his statement said we don't predict interest rates changing from 2020 till 2024 and all the language where it was never definitive that we definitely won't, which will get him out of the trouble. I think if I can play the bad guy for a change, I've never done that before ever, but I saw a bunch of news articles coming out saying, Aussies are filthy and people are blowing up that they were lied to by the Reserve Bank and now they're in trouble, now they're in mortgage stress and all that sort of stuff. If you put yourself in that position, you put yourself in that position, right? You had to know, well, you should be aware at some point interest rates can go up, right? And 2024 is only 3 years down the track. A mortgage is 30 years. So, I feel like people are going to use that as an excuse for their own.
I get you. But here's the thing. If we went back to some of our podcasts quite a few months ago, we were already, because we're in real estate, we were already saying on the podcast, they need to put the interest rate up now to slow it down because things were flying up fast. And they did nothing. And I still remember, we looked a bit like idiots that 6 months after they still hadn't done anything, and we said, just put it now. And now it's almost like a reactive kind of thing. It's almost like, inflation's hit out. Let's hit them. Let's hit them 1.35. Yeah. It really, I think it's not a con, but it really is stressful for people who jumped in the market at the beginning of this year.
Absolutely.
It's huge stress. But we think, we know how corrupt the world is, or we think it is, and they held out as long as they could coming into an election year, which we said would happen. Yeah. We all said it's an election year, the election's coming up, prices will probably keep going up until then. And then it just got to a point where they couldn't hold out any longer. And funnily enough, the month of the election or the month before the election, they started doing it. And now they've had to play catch up, which is horrible. Like Lou and I are in positions where we've just bought houses and mine's gone up nearly 2% because my bank's decided to jump ahead of the curve and put them up. So it's hard, it's horrible and it's hard and a lot of people are going to struggle. But
absolutely. And we being agents, we've been through these times before, and we know real estate's long game. But like Thomas is saying, the initial shock for people, if interest rates were just going up and the price of everything else was staying the same, it wouldn't be such a hard pill to swallow. But it's costing me over $200 a week just to fill my car up, as well as what we're paying for groceries, as well as everything else that's going up. Like, all the shops around town here, prices are going up, even on a coffee, they're going up $2 on a coffee, so it's just everything on top of interest rate rises. And you're exactly right, Cam, like we're on the coalface. We both bought this year, beginning of sort of 3 months ago. And it wasn't.
I knew what was coming. I knew what was coming.
I did too, but
I think there's been a few unknown factors in the fact that it's gone up though. And the stress that the world's seen with the lack of availability to goods through the Ukrainian war, COVID, and the government throwing so much money into the system as well. It's all led to where we are today. So we can't say you can predict something. And even if we could sit here as real estate agents and we say we're going to predict whatever's going to happen in the future, we can only do an educated guess. And it could be blown out of the water with so many different factors from things that are out of our control. So while he gets paid a huge amount of money to sort of predict this, it's
bullshit, mate. Horseshit's not a swear word. We haven't cut it.
That's right. It's something natural.
That's something that happens.
Horseshit.
Horses poo, all right? Horses
so is the other stuff that you won't let us say. That's
horses
natural.
Poo, yeah, that's natural. It's on the Discovery Channel every day.
Just watch
David
SBS.
Attenborough's an expert in it, but you can't say it on the Whiskey and Wisdom podcast. God, no. You get fined within an inch of your life. And do you know what interest rates are doing? You want us to pay lunch. God damn.
You know.
All right, let's get into the subject for the week.
Just quickly,
Okay.
can I just finish? I was just going to say, I think the shock of the interest rate rise is actually over. Watching what's been going on the weekends with buyers, when it first happened, everyone disappeared, right? It went very, very quiet, and we thought, oh, hell, where's this going? Last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been much, much busier at open homes. Deals are getting done again. Buyers are out. Offers are coming in. I think, there was an initial punch in the face about it. Now, because we got very short memories, it's sort of accepted with some people to wait off. In a lot of instances, people actually need to buy before their pre-approval runs out because they're going to get assessed at new rates and new things. So as far as from a real estate point of view, I've seen a lot more action the last couple of weeks.
And the other thing too, Cam, just to add to that, but the price of rents just keeps going up and up and up. And so those people that are paying such ridiculous rent, you know what, now is the time to buy because it is still cheaper to buy than it is to rent. Certainly is in Port Macquarie anyway.
My mortgage is still nowhere near.
Personally, I think it's going to get a lot worse.
My mortgage is I'm not saying it's not going to get worse. I'm saying the shock of it, right?
Okay, right.
I think we've already accepted the fact that it's going to keep going up. My mortgage is still $500 less a week than I could rent this house out for, which is ridiculous, right? I think it's becoming a way of life, just like COVID became a way of life, and it was about to become a way of life again. And I think, the only other thing I want to mention before we went to the actual topic is TL's best friend is back, Mr. Donald Trump, the big D. He's running again. He's going to come back. God bless America. Give us all the guns in the world.
Is that not a swear word?
We love it.
That's a good topic, I reckon. That the fact that the Americans still live by a freaking what do they call it? The
Second Amendment, guns.
Amendment that was written during a civil war. I mean,
but you can't get rid of the Second Amendment because of the First Amendment.
Yes. Oh dear.
The only way that he can escape jail is to try and come back. But
he's back, the big fella. Come on, D Trump. Come on, D Trump. He's not back.
All right, let's get into the topic for the week.
Okay, so guys, this week the topic. Did you hear that?
The typic. Oh, you're going to be spelling a lot. This is going to be good.
A bit tricky. So
I'm
it's
excited.
the five tips for the new recruits to succeed in sales is our topic. Now, but we do have a set of rules this week. So we're allowed to go around and have our say on one topic or one tip first.
Name it, explain it.
Pardon?
You've got to name it and explain it.
Name it and explain it, exactly. You're not allowed to repeat the tip because amongst us we should have hundreds of them. So if you do repeat a tip, then it's skull time.
Skull time. All right.
Say something somebody else has
I might go get
Now
another.
listen, I've already thought of a loophole which Luang's already exploiting there. No pens, people. You're not allowed to write down what people have said.
No, but someone has to keep
We've
score.
got a video recording, right? TL's going to write what everyone said, and then he's going to scan it and go, I'll make sure I don't say that. That's cheating. I want to see the big fella's skull. So
Oh.
don't write them down. We're recording, mate. You can go back. You can say, I'm doing it, so I learned. Yeah, you can.
I'm not writing them down. I'm crossing the ones off that I won't use.
Right off the video later.
Hey, Chris, do you see how he's already changed the rules? He's got no list.
What was
That's
my
because
number?
he's got no list.
What was my number one strength? You said my number one strength wasn't strategy, brother. I'm all over it.
Anyway, so I'm going first.
No, you go first. You go first.
Okay, so my first one. So, mastermind group.
Ah, shit.
And cross. So the notes that I've written here for a mastermind group, it's a group of people that can help you, keep you accountable, on track, and available to give their advice or guidance on how to handle certain situations. This mastermind group should be people who have either done it, doing it, or have proven they have what it takes in their field.
You can't read, Lou.
Reading my writing.
This is a podcast. You should be able to explain it to me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll finish the rest of it then.
We just said don't read.
I'm not reading it. I'm looking at you now. So we all know what a mastermind group is, but I think for a new recruit getting into sales who's had no experience and it's their first time, they need to surround themselves with people who they can call upon, not people that they necessarily like, people that are going to be tough with them, because as we know, it's easy to get what you want to hear out of people that don't really care about your success, but those who do are going to give you those tough answers and those tough suggestions or solutions that you might not necessarily like, but if you don't follow their advice, you know, you're perhaps not going to get to where you want to go. So a mastermind group is someone that has a proven record, whether it is in real estate or whatever field they're in. But I think it's people that you can rely on that are going to keep you accountable and on track.
If we're doing mastermind group, then it isn't all about, I think, for new salespeople. You don't need a mastermind group full of salespeople, right? So it's
Absolutely.
a proven track record in whatever it is you're trying to be better at. So yes, you might need a salesperson. You also might need someone who's good at life, good at X, Y, and Z. So
Absolutely. Yep.
we don't want to be telling you people to come in and surround yourself with 5 salespeople, because you're only going to get conflicting advice from everybody, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you do, at least you got like 5 ideas. I think the bit that I like about what Louise said is that you have to make sure you're not hanging around people who are there to make you feel good. That's the problem with a lot of people, is that they want a mastermind group that really is like a pickup group. It's almost like, if I feel a bit down, pick me up. Even if I'm full of it, pick me up. No, you want people who are going to just tell you things the way it is. Like in the movie Good Will Hunting, when he says, listen, mate, you know, all I want is to be working with you guys. And his mate says, listen, mate, you're insulting us. You got intelligence. You know, if I ever see you like this in 20 years, mate, I'll kick the crap out of you. And I think that's a good mastermind group. We need to surround ourselves with those guys that hold very, very high level of excellence.
Absolutely.
Next.
All right, Chris.
I'm going to pick one that's obviously that you guys are going to use, but I'll study and work on your skill.
Jesus, speak in English.
It's my internet. It's broken at the moment. And
Underwater.
So study and skill and track and train. So what I mean by that is you study the skill that you want, your art form, and then track your progress and train on those bits that you think you need improvement, but where you're really strong, really push those forward so you make those your superpower. And that will come in hand with what Lou said. So those people that you're mixing with will often be able to help you with that sort of guidance in what to study, where to study. And it doesn't need to be all real estate, things associated with real estate. It brings me back to the saying that I heard from Thomas, that Einstein said, study for 1 hour a day in your chosen field and you'll go into the top 1%. Simple as that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that would be my first one.
I like it. Okay, well, mine is going to be make sure that you have goals. Because unless you have goals, this industry is too hard without goals. I see people who haven't got real goals, and what happens is that they go on vacation when they have a little bit of a break, and usually when you have a break, especially you're brand new, things are a bit quieter, so you're mesmerized by anything else, and you go, oh gee, I could actually do this, I could actually go back and do that, and you're now distracted because you're not pulled by real goals. If you have real goals, goals that really are meaningful to you, you know, I ask people, don't have a goal of having a house if that's not something that drives you. It has to be your own goals. Once you have that, you will just pull through any challenges.
Yep, 100%.
Goals. Okay, cross that one off. Who needs goals? Come on, Thomas. What do you think? A house without air conditioning is still a house. I'm going to pick the ones that you will probably have on your list, and then I'll go to the more obscure ones. The basics are all you need. If I have any advice for any new person coming out, or any old person really, but new recruits, is the basics are all you need. If we're talking in real estate, all you need to do is call people, ask if they're selling, go to their house, do a presentation, ask them if you can sell the house and then sell the bloody thing. There is no magic pill. There is no magic formula. And every single time you step away from the basics, your success rate is going to fall. I can guarantee you. It may seem boring. It may seem mundane. It may seem repetitious, but all there is the basics. And anytime you find yourself in trouble and you wonder why something's not working, I encourage you to revisit the basics and see which ones you are missing.
That's one, man.
That's it. No, I was just making sure I didn't have anything else right about the basics. We too many new guys come in and they look for what's the latest video technology and what's the latest marketing ploy and what's the latest this and what's the latest that. And I need a billboard in the middle of town with my head on it. And I need videos with this and I need reviews for work I haven't done yet. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get a list. The basics are always the basics, and that is all you need. I built my career on, hi, this is Cam from Wisebury. I'm just calling the area to see if you might know anyone planning a move. No? Okay, have a good day. That was my whole career. End of tip.
Very good.
Yeah, I think the basics are very, very good. You watch a football game, at the beginning of the game, they're all doing those basic stuff, you know. I mean, they keep on repeating week in, week out the same thing, and I'm sure if they're training it daily, they're probably doing the same thing. I listen to people like Jean-Pierre who does kung fu, and he says they do something like 500 push-ups, I think, or sit-up in less than 10 minutes. Before they even start the training. And so please, if you're a new recruit, the basics right, don't you ever leave it. You stick with the recruits, you will always succeed. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to Lou. It's going to be hard because I've already crossed 4. Because Lou, actually it was Chris, you cheated. You had study, work on your skill, train. That was 3 in 1.
Yeah, I was going to call that out, but he said it in a sentence that kind of made sense to me, but I haven't drank for a week, so everything makes sense.
All right, let's keep on going.
Okay, so one thing that I was taught very, very early by Darren was activity leads to results. So
write it down, Hoang. I'm watching your pen, brother.
Activity leads to results and success leaves clues. So the more
that's 2.
Keeping it up.
That's not 2.
Activity leads to results, success leaves clues. I'm pretty sure that's 2.
No, because you can't define really success leaves clues. That's just a
you're gonna have to be careful, these guys. So
okay.
You say,
all right. So activity leads to results. So
no, you said this one now. So we have to get.
You can't use success leaves clues.
Okay, so I'll just do activity leads to results, and I'll elaborate on that. So basically, the more opportunities you create with the activities, be that sitting in front of somebody, listing, selling, training, whatever, activity will lead to results. I'm not going to say any more because I'll probably end up covering 3 or 4.
That's all right. No, but action, nothing happens without action, right? That's the point. So nothing happens without starting.
And the important part in that activity leads to results, we can all be very busy doing nothing. So the activity must be purposeful and leading to a potential result, because we can all find ways to keep ourselves busy in real estate doing an activity that necessarily leads us nowhere. So activity leads to results. If you're in front of a buyer, in front of a seller, or you're training, you are creating opportunities which will lead to results.
I think you have to be clear. So what, reading is not an activity that is to do?
No, I think reading is like training. I said activity, sitting in front of an owner or a seller or a buyer, or training. Activities, all forms of activities will lead to results as long as the intent behind the activity is.
Okay, so study is fine because study doesn't lead you to the direct result or immediate result.
Busy or productive, yeah. That's the thing.
Leads you to a long-term result if you're studying the right stuff.
We're busy or productive. We've got to make sure what we're doing is productive.
Yep.
So productive activity produces results.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay, I give you that one. All right, Chris.
Yeah, he's not happy.
Play the long game. So we're in an industry where it's a marathon, not a sprint. A lot of people enter there wanting the glitz, the glamour, the money, but don't focus on that. Focus on the destination. Focus on your journey. Enjoy the journey, but be there and be prepared to play the long game. It's not an overnight success thing. You can be successful quickly, but play the long game.
But what happens with this new generation of salespeople, though, who want to be a director within 6 months, or else they leave the industry?
I think they're going to have a lot of them will have an awakening. Unfortunately, real estate's generally known for having quite a high attrition rate with staff, because a lot of people, and it doesn't matter this demographic that we're going through now, the generation we're going through now or previous, I think real estate generally has attracted people for the wrong reasons. While it's okay to want the money, there's no problem with that. It's not the only reason you need to be doing this. I think people need to focus on their why a lot more. Why are they doing it?
And change
Sorry, say that again.
Throwing in more ammunition.
Yeah, I think that you're putting more stuff there. Right? You're putting more stuff. So let's stop there.
You asked for more.
No, he didn't. He said, "What about new
Can
people?"
we elaborate, or can I elaborate on Chris's tip there just a little bit? I read an interesting line just on that. If you're getting into real estate as an interest other than a career, it's probably the wrong decision, because real estate is, and we know this, it's not, if you get into real estate for the money, you're getting into it for probably the wrong thing. It's because we are part of people's biggest decisions, so we've got to be in it for the right reason.
I totally don't agree with that, Lou. I think people can get into it for the money. I think that's fine. If that's their drive, I think that's fine. But to do the wrong thing to get that money, then that's an issue, right? If they're doing it the right way, and with, I won't go into too much because we're going through too many things, but if they're doing it the right way, I think that's a perfect reason. If that's driving them, we don't know their set of rules in their life. So if it's for money, as long as it's the right way, I think that's fine.
I love nothing more than someone who sits in front of me in an interview and says, "I just want to be rich," instead of saying, "I really like houses." Right? Because especially when 18-year-olds say, "I've just liked houses since I was 4 years old. It's my destiny."
I like wearing nice suits and driving nice cars.
So the money, you don't want the money. Oh yeah, I want a shitload of that. Okay, now we can be honest, all right? So yeah,
I think I went into real estate because of money.
for the money.
I don't see too many industries where if you work hard enough within 2 or 3 quarters, you could actually make way more than a lawyer in his first or second year. And this is such a beautiful industry that has zero ceiling in terms of dollars.
So nothing where the payoff for the payoff per result is greater. And trust me, I've looked, because like Thomas, I only got here because I needed money.
It's like one of the only industries that you don't need 4 letters after your name or some 2 or 3 degrees to earn that capacity, isn't it?
I've got LREA after my name.
You definitely don't have JP.
No, I tried, Lou. I bloody tried to get JP because there isn't one in Carry On, and then they sent me the paperwork and it was 65 pages, and you needed someone to say you're a good bloke. So I was all out of luck, man. I was discipline's last on my strengths was filling out 65 pages. All right, TL, next one.
Yeah, mine is hard work. People, if you are new in real estate, whatever they tell you or they teach you about 9 to 5, forget it. There is nothing like 9 to 5 in real estate. Real estate, you have to smell it, think about it all the time. Okay? If you can't do this, or if you can't really get yourself to do, such a regime, don't get into real estate. Because if you're going to get into real estate with a 9 to 5 mindset, you're just going to be very poor. And you're going to actually be making less than someone who packs tomato cans in Woolies, right? So you make sure hard work. It means what? This is what I believe. Hard work, it means you start an hour or 2 before 9 o'clock, and you leave like Michael Jordan. You leave the office last. I used to start at 7:15 in the morning so I could train, because I didn't want my hours of training to impede into my work hours. And I used to be home around 10:30 many nights in my first year. The latest I got home was 12:30, but I made $30,000 that night. And so there's no problem. As long as you have what I asked first, which is the goal, then hard work is not a problem. If you can't do hard work, get out of real estate.
Well, don't start.
100%.
No, but we're talking about two new recruits who are in real estate.
Yeah, well, they're already recruited. All right. My one is run like hell. Run like hell. I reckon when you recruit, you only get one chance or one dose or one petrol tank full of new job, new career, new person energy, right? That's something that will never get replicated again as long as you're in the same job, same person, or same thing. I reckon you got 3 to 6 months of that new person petrol before it runs out. And then you'll probably, if you're not of the right mindset or the right skill set or the right attitude, fall into the grind like the rest of the people you're going to go into an office with. You're going to go into an office with people who have already been there for longer than you. You're going to go in an environment where people have fallen into the grind and the energy isn't there. You only get one chance to use your new person energy. You need to run like hell. You need to make sure at the end of that 3 to 6 month petrol tank that your listing bank is full, and the rest of your career will flow from there. If you come out as a new recruit and start waiting to get ready or listen to the old blokes who are in the office that say, oh, it's not really like that, just chill for a bit until you get some experience, your career is not going to go anywhere as fast as it should. The minute your feet hit the ground, run like hell.
Very good. I like
I
it.
like that, Ken.
Very good. Me too. Takes me straight back.
Run like hell, man. I mean, Lou, we talk in a business sense. Our most famous blow up, which people don't even know about, was when he told me I was going to have a honeymoon period when I opened my business, right? And I stood across the pool from him. We had words over it because there was no honeymoon period. It was, I'm started a new business. I only get one chance at this. I'm going to run like hell. So it's in all walks of life. You only get one chance at being the excited energy of doing something new, right? Use it. Don't let anyone take it from you. Use it until there's none of that left. Ring that orange until it's $15 a kilo.
Very good. I like it. Okay, so my next one is celebrate your failures early and always, because as a new recruit, we tend to make a lot of mistakes, or they tend to make a lot of mistakes, sometimes not always intentionally, sometimes just accidentally. Don't let that get you down and affect your mind to the point where you decide that real estate's not for you, because I think the statistic is that 80% of the people that start in real estate leave in the first year. And I think a lot of the times that is potentially because it becomes all too hard, or it's too scary, or it's hard. Like, we know, we've all been there. You sell a house today and it's amazing and it's $1 million or more, and you wake up tomorrow morning and you get that phone call, sorry, we've decided against that, and you go from high to low, and there's this roller coaster of emotions that keep you like this. So you've got to be able to bounce back and be very, very resilient, but celebrate those failures, because most people, once they've made a mistake and they've learnt from it, they won't make that mistake again. So we've said it in many of our trainings. Celebrate when you make a mistake, because you're very unlikely to make that mistake again. And if you do, you're probably an idiot anyway. But celebrate them and get them out of the way early.
But even if you repeat it, just be a happy idiot. Keep on going. The key is keep on going.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, Cam.
No, I was just happy idiot over here.
Oh. Okay.
All right, Chris.
I enjoy the look in other people's faces when I do the same shit over and over again. That's what really gets me going in the morning. So
one of the things I put down was, and I've seen it recently. When people start, they want to do everything. They want to do everything for everyone straight away. And I sort of say to people, just bring it back a little bit. Do what you say and say what you do. But if you're going to do everything, do everything.
So
don't promise everything.
So
Do
what's your
nothing.
tip? Yeah.
Say what you do, but do what you say. So if you say to someone, I'll send you that CMA, or I'll get the contract out to you, or I'll be there at 5 o'clock, and you're promising everyone the world, and then you're running ragged trying to meet it, you've got to really live up to what you're saying. So do what you say what you do, and do what you say.
Okay.
Nice. Please give your spouse or your partner the authorization to be tough on you when you're about to quit.
Didn't write it because I knew you'd say it. Yes.
You didn't write a thing. You can't write.
No, I didn't write it because I'm like, Thomas is going to talk about partners and supportive partners and all that. Yeah.
I think if you are around a supportive partner who is a yes man partner, then the chances are it's not going to happen.
It's not really supportive.
I still remember the first time that Andrew Louise did something wrong by me that I thought he did. It was on my day off, and he exchanged on a property that I had negotiated and we had agreed. And I asked his father, should I come back for my day off to go and exchange it? And his father said, no, there's no problem. And unbeknownst to me, when the deal is agreed, there's a lot of buys, that was exchanged with somebody else.
Oh.
And so the next day I wanted to quit. I just went into the office and I just slammed doors and I packed my desk and then went home. And if it wasn't for Veronique, I wouldn't be speaking to you guys today, because Veronique asked me, what are you doing? And I said, whatever. And she said, no. Do you see what we're having? I'm about to have a second baby. There's a baby here. All right. So you're going to have to go back to that job like now. And obviously I was like, but I still went back to work. And I think that was the best thing that happened, because you have to be able to listen to what those partners are really saying, rather than just let your ego run free. Mm. So that's my advice. Give your spouse or partners the authorization to kick you in the backside when your ego is too hot.
I think without it being a different tip, Thomas, under your same banner, we could probably talk about prepare your spouse for what's to come, because if they do, if a new recruit does everything where already talked about or about to talk about, there are going to be times where they're not home for dinner. There are going to be times where they're not able to do the stuff that they were able to do. So I'm not changing the tip. I'm following on from you, TL. A supportive spouse is also a prepared spouse. Too many times we see everyone, she's really happy I've got a job and I've got a new career and this and that. The first time they're home at 8 o'clock, it was, where the F are you? And then that keeps coming and that keeps coming. And, it's I've seen it boyfriend, girlfriend stage. I've seen it girlfriend, fiance stage. I've seen it married stage, and then I've seen it married with kids stage, and they're all different. And the pressure, coming home to someone who says, well, you don't spend enough time with the kids, you're always at work, you can't have a career like that. So
I think
I would even go further, that a spouse or a partner that says, whatever makes you happy, darling, if whatever makes you happy, is a spouse that does not give two hoots about you, who just want to stay as mediocre as they are, because if we are both lulling in mediocrity, we find we're inside our comfort zone.
We talked about comparison last week, didn't we? And that's one of the big comparisons, and people will hold each other back.
I think what Stephen Thompson does in his Richmond office down there is he talks to the spouses quite early, and he trains them up in, hey, listen, if they talk to you during the day, it's, have you done X amount of calls, or have you got your result, and if you haven't, why are we talking? And it's the same with like Marietta. She's got, I think, 4 children, and his rule down there is, if you get a result by 3 o'clock, listing, sale or market review, you go home by 3. And that was a real incentive for her as a mum. And so her kids actually got on board quite well. Mum, have you got your result? Can you come home? So I think it is that accountability, and not necessarily training the spouses and the kids, but it's very helpful if that can happen to a new recruit particularly.
Crystal, if you're listening and you ever ring me and ask me if I've done my calls yet, it's all off. It's all over. It's all done. All right. Just say she's not listening. She got sick of us fighting, Luke.
Oh, okay. Fair
That was her job.
enough. Yeah.
My next one touches on somewhere Chris was trying to go earlier but didn't quite get there, and it's you are not King Kong ... yet. All right, there's too many new recruits start, think they know it all, think they've been there and done that, think they can think they're on equal terms with the more senior people in the office and get to act accordingly or treat other people accordingly.
Yeah.
There's going to be people in the office better than you. Be okay with it, but strive to get there. All right.
Yeah.
Don't wait. I thought all day about this. Don't envy them. Emulate them. Hey, there's a line for you. All right. Strive to be them. Be humble enough to be okay with your level, and then gracious enough to accept the advice that they're giving you. You're not King Kong yet. You can't be King Kong yet. It's not humanly possible to walk in having never sold a house or listed a property before and know more than someone who's listed a house or sold a property before. Be okay with that.
Yep.
That's my tip.
And only, measure yourself against who you are yesterday, the month before, the year before, as opposed to anybody else, because
Another tip, Luke.
No, it's just an elaboration of yours. You can't, like, as you said, some people come out of recruit training and they go straight into sales. Others come out and go on the bench. And like the footy analogy, which is probably the best way, you train with the team, you know how to play, you know all the skills, but you're not necessarily out there playing your own game right now. But you still know, we know as leaders and whatever, that those that are on the bench are coming through. They're going to, when they hit the ground running, they're going to hit the ground running well. So don't come out or come into sales and try and be the top performer. Only just measure your progress and your success on your own.
I disagree with that. Point of reference, come in and try and be the top performer, but understand that you're not yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And act accordingly and treat other people accordingly. That's what I said. Emulate them, try and get there, try and knock them off. But I know
But in the first month, if you don't do it,
there's always going to be people who don't like other people being successful. But in my experience, the majority of the time, if someone comes in humble, if someone comes in the right way, speaks the right way, treats everyone with respect, asks for help, etc., the majority of people will try and lift them up and help them be successful. If someone comes in like they think they're king shit, they think they're King Kong and treats people accordingly, and those more experienced people, more often than not, I see try and smack them down or do smack them down. And in a lot of ways, you're getting what you deserve there. Understand where you're at, act accordingly, and then work, copy. You know, someone tried to throw another tip in about success leaving clues, copy them and get to where they're at. But you're not there yet. Understand it, be okay with it, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Good.
All right, Luke, next one.
Next one. So an expression that we've heard all too many times is eat the frog or eat your veggies. So in other words, get the hard stuff out of the way early. So if you've got a task to do in the morning, and if that, oh, sorry, Chris, tick, tick, tick. So get the hard stuff out of the way early. Like anybody that tells you that they love prospecting is probably lying. Nobody loves it, but it's a necessity. We all have to do it. You love it. Okay, cool.
Love it. How else do we get where we're going?
Exactly. But a lot of people don't understand that, Cam. So those that don't understand it and hate it and have a potential fear of it that they don't realize they have until they actually start in the industry, because it is a real thing, just get the hard things out of the way early, because then everything after that is easy. If you leave the hard things to the end of the day, guess what? Very high chance, if not 100% chance, that they actually won't happen. They'll roll over to the next day, if not the next day. And eventually, as you progress in your career, those bad habits turn into be very bad ones, and perhaps you don't call your owner when you're short, and etc. And yeah, so get the hard things out of the way early.
Elaborating on that, Lou, the hard things become easy over time. It's like building a callus. You start to get comfortable with doing the hard things eventually.
Yeah.
So early on in your career, those hard things will become part of your routine as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, if you just head down head down, ass up, and just move forward, absolutely. That's good.
Smile, everybody, for a second. Smile.
But the other thing is also true. If you shy away from what's hard, you're actually telling your brain and you're recording in your brain that you're weak. You're gonna have to be very careful not to go there. When you hit that wall, please do the opposite. Go for it, because the last thing you want to fool is your own brain.
100%. And there's a lot of tough things that we have to do in real estate. We have to have tough conversations and things like that. Not all of them that we really like, but you know, it's part of the job.
The wall thing, Thomas talks about it. This is going to be a very unsavory image that you're all going to be stuck with for the rest of your life. But when I'm in the sauna,
God. In your manly
when I'm in the sauna, because the one thing that does work in this friggin' house is the sauna, right?
That's where the air conditioning is.
No reverse cycle.
20 minutes you sit in there. At 20 minutes I start to get a sweat up and go, oh, it's fine. So for 20 minutes I go, oh, not much is happening. 20 minutes I start to get a sweat up and I go, oh, this is good. 40 minutes I want to run through the door, but the clock says 45 minutes, right? They've got the timer on, it says 45 minutes. There's nothing I want to do less than sit in that sauna and continue, but I know it's good for me and I know how good I'm going to feel when I get out of it. When you hit that wall that Thomas talks about and you feel like jumping out of the sauna, just take one more step, just make one more call, just have one more conversation and see what happens. Prove us wrong.
Definitely.
Right? Because if you keep stopping at the wall, you never know what's on the other side of it. And that's me in a sauna in my underwear, people, nothing else. It's just
lovely.
All right.
You told me that you don't wear any underwear in your sauna.
Mate, I was just keeping it PG. Right?
King, have you got like a full solid bench seat or one with slats, mate? Because you've got to be careful.
You haven't lived until you've seen your belly button full up with sweat. And then go, you haven't lived. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Where are we up to?
So with Chris now. See? Thank God someone's keeping count.
Yeah, mate. We haven't.
The next one is be curious. Curious. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, they get stifled by big personalities coming into a real estate office. But ask questions. Doesn't matter if they're good or bad. Just ask questions, because until you educate yourself enough where you know what they know, you're going to learn a lot quicker by asking. So just be curious. That will also lead you to asking smarter questions when you're prospecting. Asking the owner smarter questions. Be comfortable with not knowing. Ask questions. Be curious. That's my big one for the next.
I like it.
I don't know. Don't ask too many questions, though.
No, I disagree.
Sometimes when you're starting, we're talking about new recruits and we talk about the basics being the basics, right? And we talk about the main thing being the main thing. Don't get distracted by being too curious, I think. Sometimes you've just got to sit down, do what the work is, and trust in the process. Honestly, I do.
Yeah, but the work is so big, Cam. Like, it's not just if they're sitting on the bench and making 150 calls a day, well, that's pretty easy. There's not many questions to ask there. But if someone starts out in sales, there's a lot of...
Starting out in sales, you don't have any listings, you don't have any clients.
Yeah, but if you have no experience, you've got a lot of questions. And I always encourage my new recruits, you know what? I would rather you ask me 1,000 questions and get it right than assume you know something and get it wrong. Because if I give you the answer, it takes me 3 minutes. If I have to go and fix something that you've assumed, it can take 3 hours of my day that I can't get back.
There's a big difference. There's a big difference between someone asking a lot of questions because they're not picking up the vibe of the room and not understanding there's time to work and there's time to ask questions. I'm talking about someone who's prospecting, he's done 30, 40, 50 calls in the last couple of hours and he hears someone mention a 66W and he turns around and goes, what's that? And then he's educating himself just that little bit more.
Yeah,
that's a document. Just that sort of thing. And I'm talking about constant questions.
Yeah.
Be curious about what people are saying around you. Be curious about the person you're talking to. You know, how long you lived there? Why did you move there? Why are you moving? Just Be a curious person.
Yeah, but that's not the to defend Cam here. That's not what Lou was saying. I would rather a recruit that does not ask me 1,000 questions, Lou. I would rather you go out there and try. And we're talking about that taking risks. You have to jump, because what happened is that I've seen too many offices to whom I return a bloody nice recruit, and I know she's going to be great. And I learned afterwards that 6 months down the road, she's still doing benches. And I'm going, hold on. That was someone who passed the exam to be in sales. How could she be? And what happened is that the recruit was pushed into a position where there was too much questioning, and the questioning led that person into doubting himself or herself. Then it's a problem. I think the curiosity that Chris is talking, I agree with. We need to be curious and look at the world like with fresh eyes every single day, whether we knew, by the way, or we have 20 years in the business.
Right.
But we should not be asking questions because we're scared. That is the wrong reason. Because we're scared of not doing it right by our leader, because we're scared of making mistakes. I think that those are the things. And I think that you said it earlier. You need to fail early. How the hell do you fail if you have to ask questions to make sure you don't fail? All right.
Good point.
Okay. Well, mine is you guys are about to as a new recruit, you're about to get into a business where it's all about relationships and it's about communication. So I put those two together. And it doesn't matter. We're not born with a book on relationship and communication. But there's plenty of books on relationship and communication. And if that is our industry, you must make sure you read at least one book on relationship and communication each month. If you just did that, in a year, you've read 10, 12. In 5 years, you've read, which is what Einstein said, you've read now in 5 years, 60. After 60 books, you'll find that any other books are exactly the same. The only thing is that the chapters are different from one book to the next. So once you get to that level, you're untouchable. But first, you must open the first book and go through the first page of communication. You know, and people go, what do you mean communication? Well, how to win friends and influence people. The Lie, influenced by Robert Cialdini. I mean, you name it. It's all on. There's so many books, and you just have to start with one. You know, one that I love the most is, obviously at the beginning you will see that when you start reading books, it's going to be very much on foundation level, which is how do I say to something to someone, such as one of my first books. I think if it was not my second book, that was Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's pretty basic, but it's good. Now I'm more into books like how do you communicate with yourself? Because if you communicate with yourself wrong, you just sold yourself the wrong package. If you communicate with yourself right, then suddenly you made a very good sale to yourself, you know. So, but still in the realm of communication. And when you reach that level, you can talk to other people and realize when they're making mistakes in their own internal communication.
Yeah.
Cam.
I'd just like to thank Veronique, because without Veronique, Thomas wouldn't be here right now. Thank you, Veronique.
No clap, Chris.
So glad you're here.
Oh, I've got in my thing, be sincere, so I just didn't think that was appropriate. You know, sorry, but
I've just jumped off script, but I've got one that I think is probably, of everything, the most important. Be you. Be you. Be the person that you were at the interview. Be the person that, I don't care, Chris, I beat you. That you were be the person that you were in training. The biggest issue I see with new recruits is that they turn up, they go and stand in front of a complete stranger, and all of a sudden they think they've got to be someone they're not. They turn into a Demptel salesman. They turn into a real estate expert when they know nothing about real estate. They turn into all this stuff that they're not, and that's actually their biggest downfall.
you know,
If you don't, you can't walk. If you, I don't care what age, but if you've had no experience with a divorce or someone going broke or someone doing all that stuff, don't walk into a house and pretend you know. Into a house and pretend that you know what's going on there. Empathise and say,
Yeah.
look, I can't imagine what you're going through. Right? But be you. Don't change. All right. That does everybody. I tried. Not straight away, but other times when people said I wasn't classy enough or I wasn't professional enough or I wasn't this, I tried to be. And
you were being yourself.
Okay?
You were being yourself.
I am, mate. I am more Cam than one thing no one can take away from me. And people shake their heads and go, how can he list a house looking like that? How can he list a house talking like that? I'm serious. Because I'm me, right? It's never changed. And when I sit across the table from someone, they know that who they're sitting in front of is who they're sitting in front of. It's not going to be, he's not going to walk out of his car and be a completely different person. Right? Yeah. Be you. And
yeah, but how do you explain to new recruits who are saying, hold on, we've been taught disc?
Disc doesn't change who you are. It changes how you, some of your behaviors to suit the person you're sitting across with. It doesn't change who you are. I can talk to a sociable person about beers and football, and I can talk to a conscientious person about stats and
details,
figures, but it's still done as Cam. It's still done as Cam. And the one thing I don't ever do is talk about something I don't know about.
I think that one of the problems is a lot of business owners hire people that are like themselves rather than hiring people that are different from themselves, because you want a team of different people to fit the people that you're dealing with, right? You wouldn't want an office full of Cams, right?
That's a different question, mate. We're talking about what can new recruits do.
Yeah, no, what I'm getting at is this, though. As a leader, I think it's our job to celebrate someone's strengths within that office and make them see those strengths and understand that. I don't have to change.
There's nothing more frustrating than, especially in our network, where the recruitment process is not you're interviewed, you're hired, right? It's quite rigorous. So there's nothing worse than, more frustrating than doing a phone call with someone, then doing an interview with someone, then doing an opportunity day with someone, then sending them down to the course, and then they come into the office on their first day and they're a completely different person because they think they have to.
Yeah.
Right? And no matter how many times you try with some people, eventually they get it. But the amount of people who turn into vacuum cleaner salesmen the minute you put them in a role play, and you're thinking, no, this isn't who I hired. This isn't what it's going to be like, and this isn't going to work out in the real world, right? So just be you. If you weren't, if you weren't suitable for the job, you wouldn't have one. Right? Especially in our network. If you weren't ready to go walk into someone's house as you, as Cam, as Chris, as Louise, as Thomas, you wouldn't be in the room. So have faith in that.
Yeah, it's good, Cam. I like that. It's good.
All right.
Back to you, Luke.
Back to me. My next one is going to be celebrate your successes. So real estate can be very, very, and we've already touched on it. It's if you
no pens, Hoang, drink.
If you work, no. Let me finish.
Yeah,
if you work 9 to 5 in real estate, you're not working very hard. When I say
your third one was celebrate your failures, and now
is failure and success the same thing?
It's a bit about milking things too.
No. Let me finish, and then you can vote, because I tell you now, success and failure are very, very different. What I mean by success is you have a good quarter. How many of us are guilty of burnout? We get to the point where we burn ourselves out. What I'm saying is we have a good quarter. We start back on a duck egg or a 0 on the 1st of July. Yet we've just done an amazing quarter, and you get straight back on the horse and you flog yourself again for another 3 months. If you don't celebrate your success at that point, and what I mean by that is most of the time what I will do, and I do it and I've done it for the last 13 years. If I have a good quarter, I go buy myself a pair of shoes or a new purse or get my hair. I do something.
You buy some curtains, for God's sake.
I'm going to buy some curtains.
All we want you to do is buy some curtains, all right? We
Next
can't see
quarter.
your feet, but we can see those curtains.
Next quarter.
Drop the
Next
golden
quarter I'll
sun. Me a name I call myself.
No.
Far a long, long way to run. Sorry, Mrs. Von
I'm
Trapp.
too young. I don't even know what song that is, but I know it's from an
I don't want
old
to kill
day
your point, Dad,
show.
but we're talking about new recruits, not people.
No, but I am talking about new recruits, and I am talking about new recruits, and I think it's very important because if you've got to celebrate your success, you've got to reward your brain, you've got to train your brain to celebrate success, because otherwise, I did it once, Thomas. We had this discussion. I went and went and went and went, and I became a donkey, and suddenly I just became this animal that just went and went and went to the point where I went, you know what? I'm either going to walk out of here, or I need to have a break, or I need to do something for myself, because you get to the point where you can't just keep going. If you don't train your brain to celebrate your successes, then what the hell are you doing it for? You get up every day to flog yourself, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but we work hard. We got to celebrate when we have good times. I can't see that that's a bad tip for a new recruit.
No, it's a very good tip. It's a very good tip. All I said it was milking the tip number 3 that you gave, but I'm cool. I'll accept that. I think it was a bit different.
Very different. Very different.
All right.
It
See,
was
it's good
so
to keep.
different.
What?
It was like
No,
black and
no.
white, mate. It was so different.
No, I think one is about resilience, and the other one is about giving a deadline to celebrations. I think they're very different. That's nice. That's
Yeah.
good.
Chris.
Are you a real mastermind, Thomas, or are you just one there to tell people they're doing a good job all the time?
Listen, hey, listen. All that we know is that on this podcast, you're the only one with a jumper. You're Belgian, all right? You're not, okay? So let's not talk about fake.
I just like to thank the future owners of the land. That's all I'd like to do.
Oh my gosh. Chris, what do you got?
So I was going to be cheeky and saying, well, since Lou got away with
How many have we
success and
done?
failure, I'm going to go.
Oh, no, we
I'll go there.
And she didn't have to skull. I go.
I think you should celebrate going to work.
Yeah. Cam's was what? What'd you say? Follow the basics. And I was going to say follow the system. So no, but I won't say that.
Basics is all you need.
No, what I was going to say, I was going to get into. There's an old saying in real estate: buyers are liars, and I really hate that statement. I really, in the pit of my stomach, hate that statement because
Have you tried to do a deal lately? Jesus Christ. Hey? Have you tried to do a deal lately?
good real estate agents think buyers are not liars. But buyers are nice people. So what I'm getting to is avoid the negativity within an office. If you're a new recruit and you see there's one or two people, just maybe steer away from them when they're having a bad day or whatever. Go out door knocking, leave the office, do letterbox shopping, whatever you need to do, but avoid the negativity and being driven to that negative place within an office.
How does that tie in with buyers are liars, though, Chriso?
Because that statement is a negative statement. It's not a good culture. It's a negative culture where there's.
So what's the tip?
Yeah.
Avoid negativity.
Chris,
I said it.
like it's a skull.
Negativity. I said it. How many times?
No,
It
mate,
looks like it's a skull, brother.
you're the only one who
Yeah.
talks. You're the only one who talks for 15 minutes and then works out at the end what you've
For
said.
who?
and
For
goes,
me?
That's the tip. Yeah, you.
Skull,
What?
skull, skull, skull.
Skull.
Why
All
do
in
I have to
favour,
skull?
say higher.
Why do I have to skull though? I'm happy to skull, but why?
Just skull.
It wasn't a valid tip.
You didn't give a tip. You
Avoid
said
negativity.
buyers are
How's
liars.
it not a valid tip?
How
said,
do you
"I
avoid
really hate-
negativity? You
there's
only
a
have to
saying.
wake
Hang
up
on,
in
let
the
me
morning and
repeat.
turn the radio on, and you got
Yeah,
negativity.
hang on. I'm going to pause
Go.
you guys. And then,
He lost it.
you truckers. That's what I said.
And he lost it.
Go! Down the hatch.
Richard.
Do it.
Come on.
Do it.
Come on.
Do it. Yeah. So there's a statement I really hate, and it's got
I
nothing to
still
do with
like
what I'm
my
about to
thing, though.
say. but-
Anyway.
Thomas, can you make sense, please?
Yeah, no, actually, what he said was fine. he said
It's
avoid
swearing.
negativity, but I let it go because it was very close to mastermind group. It was very close to celebrate your failures early, so I thought I'd just let it go. But I think
What's it got to do with buyers and liars?
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't
picking up on.
understand.
it had nothing to do with that. But whatever he
He's
said
opening
afterwards,
statement.
it's okay.
In my mind, it makes sense.
He's got his glass, right? All right. Mine is very simple. Listen, you're going to be put under a lot of stress, and the things that you need to make sure as a new recruit that you never do is to violate your values. No matter what, you must make sure that you never lie, cheat, do anything wrong, because you will know it first.
Mm.
And then if the other person believes you or is kind enough to pretend that they believe you, so be it. But there's nothing worse in real estate in building a great reputation and career to start violating or break your values, especially when you're under pressure. When things are fine, nobody breaks their value, right? When things are fine, values seems to be the safest. The moment that you're under pressure, deadlines, the end of the month's coming, and you have to produce something, and there's this week the targets is putting a lot of pressure on you. There will be, and everyone has that. I have that too. There will always be that moment when the voice comes into your head and go, what about you did this? So that you must resist that pressure, because once you are owned by that evil or that devil, you will always break your values. But if you go on to never breaking your values, then you will see that you will start forcing your mind into searching for things that will make your career work rather than look for the next excuse or lies.
Yeah, I really like
Reputation's everywhere, right? We're unfortunately, our reputation as an industry is horrible, but it's warranted. It's warranted.
Yep. And
shit I go on a daily basis with other agencies and other agents beggars
belief.
So for a new person coming in, and you can go, shit, that person's all over Facebook as the #1 agent, but I know he lies to vendors, I know he lies to buyers, I know he lies to everyone else, I know those figures aren't even real. Well, maybe I should just do that because he seems to be winning. You know what? It depends on your definition of winning. If it's money in your bank, maybe, but there's nothing like looking at $1 million in the bank and knowing you did it the right way versus looking at $1 million in the bank and knowing how many people you destroyed or lied to or tried to lie to get that. There's no win in that, and that's the values that
we've all got a conscience, and we've got to accept it, and I think it's such an amazing tip, because we've all been in situations where we get to an end of a quarter or an end of a month, depending on whatever the setup is in your office, and you feel the pressure and you feel that almost that I've never done it and I never would, but you can see how it's easy. We hear of a lot of people that start out in real estate, and if they start out early and they become directors early, and then a lot of the time it's those ones that go from nothing to something very quickly. They lie, cheat, and steal, and they always come undone. But it's the temptation. It's the temptation that's the temptation to break the rules and break your morals and all the rest of it. What is so funny? What did I say?
You didn't have to skull, but temptation, having to repeat it 3
Not
times.
a tip. It's not a tip. I'm just elaborating on yours.
Thomas, it's in her research, mate.
Oh, you guys.
It doesn't have to be, Lou, I think. I'm not disagreeing.
It wasn't about a tip, but you having to repeat temptation 3 times. I'm thinking, and the woman didn't have to skull.
I didn't even say temptation 3 times.
Two rules: to repeat the same word 3 times. It's a skull.
It comes down to
we're talking about. We're talking about.
Get to your tip, Ken.
No, I just want to finish off on this one because
don't, because you'll cover about 3 more tips and you'll be in trouble.
I'm not. the values thing is inside the office where we talk about. You're talking about directors who do the wrong thing, but what about stealing your teammates' lead or claiming buyers that aren't yours, or trying to not show a property, or get other people to not show a property, so you're the only one who can show it. We're not talking. It doesn't have to be on a grand scale. The little things lead to big things. Right?
Absolutely. Even not saying thank you to your receptionist because she's only receptionist in your mind.
100%.
I think you're breaking values. And those are values that actually will be used in relationship when you go to clients.
How you do one thing's how you do everything, and that you can't steal a lead or steal a prospect or steal
100%.
and then not go out to a listing appointment and lie about it, then not own a business and break your values there. The shit stays with you forever, right? And your gains are real gotten, and unfortunately in life the saying is,
Louise, what's your right tip, Louise?
Nice guys finish last, right? But nice guys sleep a lot better. I wouldn't know, I'm an asshole, but that's
Is that allowed?
No,
Is that allowed?
That's next week. That's next week. That one's bad.
What's your tip?
All right. I just realised this is our last tip. So I've got 3 left written down.
I've got a few more too.
No,
that's okay. Let's have a look at Cam's last one because it might be a repeat.
Well, I've got to work out which is the most important. It's not the numbers game is undefeated.
He's the man who said do not read. Yeah, okay.
All right. I've really got 2 that need to be said. Hopefully someone comes up with...
I've got 2 that need to be said as well.
One is... Well, I'll go with the one that makes me the biggest hypocrite, and then hopefully someone else comes up with the other one. I'm going to say this now, knowing full well that it is not me, all right? We talk about doing what you say and say what you do, whatever you're going on about, Chris, buys or lies, something. I don't know. You got it, your health, all right? All this talk we've done about, you got to work your bum off, there's no such thing as 9 to 5, all this stuff. You're never going to be able to do anything that we've talked about doing to the best of your ability unless you've got the vitality in you to do it. I tell people real estate doesn't know a healthy Cam except probably the first day I worked it, right? And heaven forbid I ever get back there because no one will be able to keep up. I let an office job stop me exercising. I drink the same as I've always drank, but I didn't exercise. I didn't eat right. I didn't do anything that I was meant to be doing. Within 3 months in the industry, I'd ballooned. I'd put on 20 kilos in 3 months. I've gone from the fittest bloke on the planet to being on blood pressure medication and cholesterol medication and now having to drink straight whiskey because wine's too bad for me. Real estate doesn't know a healthy Cam, and we've still been able to do what we're able to do. Look after your health. You can't sacrifice your health. Do whatever you've got to do. I think it's no coincidence that a lot of the real estate influencers show off their Instagram stories at 4 a.m. on the gym. And I know a lot of it can be horseshit, but you can't do anything if you're dead.
Exactly.
You can't do anything with your dead. We all got into it for money to look after our families, or at least me, Thomas did, and Chris probably the same. I don't know Lou's reason for starting real estate, but you can't look after your family if you're dead, right? Getting up early to make the calls and coming home at 12:30 at night because you're doing listing appointments is not possible if you don't have the health in you to do it. Your decision making goes, your ability to dance goes, your mind turns to mud. You can't do it. So,
all right.
It's hypocritical.
Nice. Very, very nice on health. You can see he's just spent 3 days on the.
No, I don't want people to be me. I know it's hypocritical, right? I haven't done it. So I'm not claiming to.
That's the response we'd expect someone that's not eating sugar. So.
Just want to let the recruits know that should not be in your mastermind group when it comes to health.
Do burpees instead.
All right. Okay. Why don't we just now do the last round very quickly and give the definition of a champion, so that it may encapsulate some of the things that we haven't covered. I mean, I don't mind just passing and so that you guys can have a go. Yeah. Let's start with Cam first.
If it is to be, it's up to me, champion. Don't walk into a new office as a new recruit expecting everyone's going to do it for you. Why they probably should. A lot of the time, it's not going to be the case. So if you're going to do something in this industry or in sales or in any industry, it is on you, nobody else. If you fail, it's your fault. And guess what? If you succeed, it's your fault, and you get to party like it was
Exactly.
1969, brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to Belgium.
Go to Belgium and celebrate everything. Go and work at Port Macquarie where they celebrate everything, apparently. Your successes, your fails, your...
And there's
No,
no wine.
Cam, I have to take you to Belgium because we would not survive one pub. It's 500 beers in
Mate,
that.
the only... Yeah, it's not... The only... I'm not a traveller and I never have been, but I always said the only place I want to be is Germany for Oktoberfest. So Belgium's probably the same, mate. Belgium probably does it better. But yeah, now that I'm wearing a jersey, if do it yourself because no one's going to do it for you. That's a champion.
That's exactly it. Right. And by the way, so my family lives in Brussels. So to let you know, Cam, you've got the maroons, so the seagulls color in Belgium there, but Brussels is green and red, like the Rabbitohs. So thought I just I share with you. Now, what about you, Lou?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've really had two, but I'll see if I can condense
It's
it.
okay. What's a champion for you?
A champion is okay, everything that we've just said, but I think
Skull! You just said everything we just said. She just said everything we've just said.
Hold on.
Go.
Cam, does that mean she has to do 20 skulls? Because
No, she's got a skull. All in favour, say
No.
All in favour.
No.
Put your hand up. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a skull.
Yeah, you got a skull.
I have that much left.
You have to skull it.
That's how much you're drinking.
Okay, I'm gonna. If I spew, just you have to.
It's all right. It's on your computer. We've not reached out.
Through and through. She's a bastard, so they say. Try to go to heaven, but the other way. Drink it down. Yes.
Well done.
A champion does not do that.
A champion wouldn't back down.
No.
That's a champion effort.
The 2 points. The 2 points. What makes a champion? And I don't have anything left to skull, so I'm not sculling anymore. Ugh. If that comes back up on film, I apologise. A champion is everything we've ever said. But the two things I wanted to say, and I'm just going to say them very quickly.
You've never said anything quickly in your life. Now would be a good time.
Master social media, okay? Because it is the way of the world these days. It's quick, it's easy, it's at your fingertips. The other thing is, if you're new in the industry, rely on not those who have a reputation, but your reputation that you're going to build. If Roger Federer was going to play, Nick Kyrgios today, we ought to assume that Roger Federer is going to win because he has all the experience, but who has all the energy and all the talent and the coming through the ranks kind of experience? You don't always assume that the person with all the experience is going to outdo you. It's who's got the hunger and who's got the drive to make the difference. So I see a lot of new recruits worry about the fact that they have no experience, but you know what? Use that to your advantage. Now I'm going to try not to bring that back up.
Breathe.
All right, Chris.
My last one, I've got just two real quick. My last one was
What is a champion?
be grateful. Be grateful to everyone that you meet, from the person who gave you the job, the person that's your mastermind group, the person that's sitting next to you and helps you with scripts, to your missus that doesn't bust your nuts when you're home late, to your family from being away from them, and your customers that entrust their most valuable asset to you. Show gratitude, be grateful. I think if you can start the day with gratitude, it's going to eliminate the feeling of entitlement. So just show gratitude. And the second piece of advice would be, don't expect to have a balanced life early in your career. Understand that your life is not going to be balanced early in your career. You need to work towards that. You need to earn it, but it will get there, and it is worth it.
Very good, Chriso.
Very nice. Oh, well, listen, for all new recruits, this is a very interesting market for you guys to start. And if you start in this market and you're hanging there and you're still around when this market goes north again, then you'll never fail in real estate. So hang in there. It's going to be rough, but apparently good sailors are always created in rough seas. Good luck. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for this week.
My dues. Time after
Too much
time.
whiskey.